Oh, Lord, let me ride. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Low down your chariot and let me ride. Low down your chariot and let me ride. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Low down your chariot and let me ride. Low down your chariot and let me ride. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Low down your chariot and let me ride. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Low down your chariot and let me ride. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Low down your chariot, low down your chariot. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Oh, Lord, let me ride. Low down your chariot and let me ride. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wealth Station. Brother Rick, just with you for a few minutes. We're about to start our financial IQ challenge today, but the Lord told me to say a few things to you before we get started. And he wanted me to talk to you about this. And it is a beautiful day to be alive. Brother Daniel, how you guys doing? How are you all doing? Good morning, Tiffany. I hope you're doing wonderful as well. Good morning to all of you all that's listening on YouTube and Facebook. Good morning to you. And good morning to all of you all who are here on Instagram as well. Dr. Allen, how are you? And Qua Maniac, good morning. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Um, What's that? That's an ebook, my friend. Somebody's talking about the book. That's an ebook. It's at ebook.myfinancialiqchallenge.com. So it's an ebook, my friend. So it's not a. We have a few editions that'll be coming back out in March. If you want to make a pre-order for that, but it's an ebook. So just get the ebook and read that. And if you decide you still want the other one, let me know. We'll make sure you get one in March when we start mailing them out again. Good morning, Shaylee. Is that correct? Mhm. Good morning. Be grateful. Good morning. Talk Dokes, how are you, friend? And good morning, Sammy. How are you? Good morning, Brother Lawrence. Appreciate you, brother, sending me over that videographer too. I appreciate that. And good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Brother Derek, Bishop Derek. How are you? Social media. Good morning to you. And good morning to all of you. I hope you're having a beautiful day already. I'm not going to be here real long because we're getting together to do our financial IQ challenge today. And if you guys are still interested in being part of the financial IQ challenge, you still have an opportunity to do so because it's at 11 o'clock today, which starts in about an hour and hour and a half. So that's why I'm saying if you want to get on this chariot and ride with us, then we'd be glad to have you this morning. That's why we're saying, low down in your chariot and let me ride. Oh. So if you want to ride with us today, we're going to be taking off this week. So you won't be seeing me much talking with you all here. So I'm just letting you know that we're going to be getting down. So I want to talk to you all for a few minutes about this idea. And that's the idea of if you pour the oil. Good morning, brother Kelsey. How you doing? If you pour the oil, God, he'll make up the difference. I just want to talk to you for a few minutes because some of you all have some oil that you ought to be pouring today, but you are reluctant to pour it because you don't think it has any significance. And I want you all to know that everything that God gave you, anything that God gave you is significant. You know, you are a very significant human being. I don't care what nobody say around you. I don't even care what's going on inside of your head that's contrary to the truth. The truth of the matter is that you're a very significant human being. Why? Because God ain't made no junk. Are you listening to me? The Bible says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. marvelously wrought, which means that you have amazing ability inside of you. The problem that most people have is that they don't think much of what they got. So what happened? They won't pour the oil. So when my main man, Elisha, when Elisha met this woman who was in big trouble, she was broke, her husband was dead. They was trying to come and get her kids, and she was depressed, So she said, "Elisha, man, I'm in." She said, "I need a boom, 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 and a zoom, zoom. It ain't. It's trouble in Gotham over here." So Elisha said, "What you got in the crib?" She said, "I ain't got nothing but a pot of oil." So he said, "All right, cool." He said, "Let's go." He said, "Get that and go borrow all the pot you can from all your neighbors." And he said, and then just go ahead and pour the oil. So it don't seem to make sense. And remember this all the time. Everybody pay close attention to this. And you're gonna hear me say this a lot if you get to know me. And that's the fact that almost all really good advice is almost always counterintuitive. It almost always seems crazy. Almost all good advice. Why? Because we've been doing crazy stuff so long. You got to understand that when you've been doing stuff that don't produce no money, when you've been doing stuff that don't produce no happiness, when you've been when you've been an underachiever and a winner of the losers at the top of the bottom and the best of the worst, when you've been actually not getting much accomplished at your highest level, and then somebody comes in and tells you something, then and somebody comes in and tells you something, just send a message to info, Sister Lee, send a message to info at stellarwealthmanagement.com, and I'll send you over the recording, honey. Info at stellarwealthmanagement.com for the young lady that's asking that question. This is what bothers me about human beings, and this is what troubles me, because I love people. And I hate to see a person not reach their potential in life. I just really don't like it. It just bothers me when I see a person. I'm like, man, what are you doing? They're like, man, I'm like, no. What are you doing? Why ain't you doing your best? Why ain't you going at it? Why ain't you going hard? What you waiting for? Why ain't you pouring the oil? All right. You got some oil in the crib, right? So why ain't you pouring it? Well, I'll tell you why you don't pour the oil. You don't pour the oil because you be thinking it ain't gonna turn out good. So it ain't no need in pouring this doggone oil because it ain't nobody gonna buy it. Ain't no need in pouring this oil because nobody want what I have. Ain't no need in pouring. It's really like just telling God that, you know what, God, you ain't good enough. The way you made me and stuff, and I need to be another person. I want to be somebody else. Let me tell you something. If two of us in a room and both of us just alike, one of us ain't necessary. Okay. So don't try to be like nobody else. Just be 100% whoever it is that you are, but just let God use you to the fullest. Are you listening to me? Because you got way more potential than what it is that you're doing. And in fact, if you just pour the oil, you'll find out that you'll create what we call compounded interest. Now you say, what's compounded interest, Ricky? That means putting your money in something and growing a whole bunch of interest. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you'll find out that there's compounded interest in you. Oh, yes, you will. You'll find out there's way more people interested in you. You'll find that there's way more people interested in what you're selling, way more people interested in what you're preaching about, talking about, singing about, writing about, exercise, whatever it is that you're doing that brings amazing value to folk. It's a whole bunch of people interested in you. You just don't know it. Why? Because you ain't poured the oil. Are you listening to me? If you pour the oil, God, he'll make up the difference. Are you listening to me? Pay attention to what I'm telling you. The woman, when she started pouring the oil, then immediately all of the oil pots, they started filling up. But more important than that, she had some pots to pour the oil in because all of her neighbors gave her some pots. Are you digging what I'm saying? As soon as she made up her mind, I'm gonna go ahead and pour this oil. As soon as she started saying that, then she started finding out that there was a whole bunch of people that had interest in her that she didn't realize it. What I'm talking about compounded interest. Compounded interest comes when you pour the oil. You're not going to have any compounded interest until you pour the oil. How's the interest in you going to compound and nobody know who you are? You got to come out the Secret Service business, baby. All right, brother, sister, king, queen, aunt, uncle, awesome brother and sister. You're an awesome brother. You're an awesome sister. Don't let anybody tell you no different. So go ahead and pour your oil. Your oil is all you got. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Your oil is all you got. You can't, and all you got is all you need. So just go ahead and pour it. I just want to encourage y'all because I don't like to see people not reaching their potential. It bothers me. It vexes me. It gets down into my spirit. I'm like, look, live your life right now. Okay. You ain't guaranteed tomorrow. You ain't guaranteed the next day. You ain't guaranteed next week. You're like, Ricky, why are you even on here talking? You're about to do a financial IQ challenge. I ain't guaranteed to be alive in an hour. I ain't guaranteed. All right. God don't owe me nothing. Okay. So I ain't no guarantees about life. Life is what you make out of it. So I'm going to talk to people, for a few minutes, you dig, until it's time to move on and talk and teach you guys what's going on. In a few minutes, I'm going to talk to them, talk to my staff in a few minutes and teach them some stuff. I'm going to talk to people. I just say, Lord, I tell you what, I don't know when I'm going to die, but I just pray I die with my shoes on. And it was a good day. It was a day that I learned something from somebody, and a day that I was able to teach somebody something. And then that's all you can do during the course of a day. What I'm saying, pour the doggone oil. You got oil that you need to be pouring out, but you ain't pouring it because you're talking yourself out of it. Let me tell you something. All the money you ain't got, all the happiness you ain't got, all the satisfaction you ain't got, everything that you ain't got is because you talked yourself out of it. Are you listening to me? You talked yourself out of it. Didn't nobody talk you out of it. Ain't nobody got to talk you out of nothing because you talk yourself out of everything. Some of y'all professionals at talking yourself out of stuff. Why? Because you ain't poured the oil. You have no idea what nobody got interest in. Now you listen to me. You don't even know what nobody got interest in because you ain't even tried. Why? You ain't tried. It's a 100,000 reasons why you ain't tried. We ain't gonna talk about that today. I just want to encourage you to go ahead and pour the doggone oil and watch God make up the difference. Now you listen to me. That woman poured that oil out, and when she poured out that oil, it never ran out. Are you listening to me? When God tell you to do something, then the provisions to be able to do it and the ability to be able to carry it out is 100% on God's side because he always does his part all the time. And God is like sitting on the sideline saying like, hey man, I'm looking to be employed. Are y'all listening to me? God is like, hey, would you employ me, please? He says, so how do I employ God, Ricky? Start pouring out the oil. See, when you start pouring out the oil, then God starts showing off. Why? Because God is a show-off artist. Oh, yes, he is. God loves the glory. God loves showing that he is mighty and strong and limitless. He likes showing his might, his strength, his power, his majesty. God loves doing that. The problem that God has is he can't hardly find nobody want to pour out no oil. Are you listening to me? You got all that talent all up inside of you, everything you're supposed to be doing with your life, and you just won't pour the oil out. If you just pour the doggone oil out, you find out, man, God is amazing. God to do things that I didn't think was even possible. Why? Because you'll find out that people got what? Compounded interest in you. Are you listening to me? When this woman poured out this oil, she found out that all of her neighbors was willing to let her borrow pots. Why? Because they was all interested in her business. Okay. They was all interested. They was like, man, if you can fill these empty pots up, this is her neighbors. They like, if you can fill these empty pots up, then we'd be glad to give them to you. They ain't doing us no service. They just empty around here. So if you can fill these pots up, man, we'll pay you for the oil. All right. So you're like, well, Ricky, where'd you get the oil from? God is the one who put the increase on the oil. One, you just got to do your part and start pouring. Are you listening to me? Because y'all be thinking my stuff is too little, Ricky. I ain't got nothing but one little pot of oil. If I pour this little pot of oil, I ain't gonna have nothing. But that's not how God works. When the more you pour out, the more God pour in. The more you pour out, the more God pour in. The more you pour out into people, the more God pours into you. Are you listening to me? It's so many people interested in you that don't know you. Why? Because you ain't pouring out no oil. They don't know. You won't tell them who you are. You won't tell them what you're doing. You won't speak out. You won't speak up for yourself. You're in the witness protection program, and don't nobody know who you are. Why? So you can't get no compounded interest until you actually start pouring out some oil. You got to do your part. All right. You cannot feel entitled. You cannot feel like you're just going to have some money. You're just going to have this. You're just going to have some happiness. You're just going to have this. You're just going to have. No, you are not entitled. God don't owe you nothing until you do your part. Now, once you do your part, now God got to jump in the game. Are you listening to me? He don't have no choice. He ain't because he's not a man that he should lie, the son of man that he should repent. When you do your part, he ain't got no choice. That's what I love about God. I'll be like, you know what, Lord? I've been reading this Bible and I'm gonna start pouring out my oil. And then I'm gonna find out if you really do what you say you're gonna do. Y'all ain't trying God. That's what the problem is. He said, try me and see if I won't open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you ain't even able to contain. He said, just try me out. Just see. He said, you pour and then watch me pour. That's what God is saying. He said, you pour and then you watch me pour. He said, go ahead and take a chance and pour and watch what I do. He said, because you can employ me. God is like, look, I'm on the sideline and I want to work for you. I want to work on your behalf, but I can't work on behalf of the person who won't employ me. Why won't you? Because you ain't doing nothing. But if you start doing something, then I jump on in the game and I show you how mighty I am, how strong I am, how phenomenal I am, how resourceful I am, how limitless I am. I'll show you how I get down, because I get down. You don't know how I get down. This is what God's saying to you today. All right. He's saying, but I can't get you to pour no oil. You just don't have enough, enough get up and go just to use what it is that you got. So you can't use what nobody else got. So listen, I'm about to go because I got to train my staff this morning. If all you all who are still interested in coming to the Financial IQ Challenge, it's myfinancialiqchallenge.com, and you can still come. Shantae is taking care of business, and she's still signing people up and all of that. So if you guys are interested in that, then you have the ability to be able to come. But I just want to encourage you today. My throat's a little sore, and so y'all pray for me because I got to do this 5 days, and I need to keep my throat from being sore. So I'm not going to talk too much longer. Okay. God bless you, Chris. Glad to have you, brother. We look forward to seeing you this morning. Uh, so I want to tell you one more story, and that's David. How David, he just went ahead on and poured the oil, and then God came on and handled his business. See, David ran up on this fight, and it's a big dude up here, and this dude is like 10 feet tall. And David, David ain't, David, he's just regular sized cat. You dig? So, but the dude is big, strong, way stronger than David physically and all of that. But what David did was he said, well, you know what? I'm looking at the dude. He said, this dude is really big. I can't just whoop this dude on my own. So I'm not going to put on no armor and fight him, like it's going to be a fist fight, you dig, like Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield and nothing like that. He said, I'm gonna take real advantage of this dude. He said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna employ God to whoop this mod. Are you listening to me? Y'all fighting battles. Listen to me good. Y'all fighting battles that God's supposed to be fighting. It's like you're just gonna jump in the fight, try to get your revenge from people. You up here acting a fool and all that sort of thing. The Bible said we battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against spiritual wickedness in high places. This ain't no fist fight stuff no more. All right. We're not fighting like somebody that beat against the air. Are you listening to me? We fight a spiritual fight, which means that we just tell God, hey, Lord, you see what's going on. Can you handle that for me? And then that's what God does. He handles that. And that way you're not walking around with high blood pressure, mean-spirited, vengeful, malicious, and all that kind of stuff because you ain't going nowhere like that. Are you listening to me? Be cool, be calm, maintain your composure when you're dealing with folk. And let God fight your battles because God got it. God got your back. He got your side. He got your front. He got your back. He got your side. He got your front. He got your back. He got your side. You ain't got to get down like that. When David got to the fight, all he had to do was show up. Y'all don't understand. All you got to do is show up because there's compounded interest in you. You know who's listening, who's paying attention to you? The Father is. You know who's paying attention to you? The Son is. You know who's paying attention to you? The Holy Spirit is. You know who's paying attention to you? All the angels in heaven. You got compounded interest going on in your life. Are you paying attention to me? When you will employ God, because when you employ God, you employ the whole host of heaven with them. Are you digging what I'm saying? And stop all this foolishness going back and forth, tit for tat with people and wasting your precious time when you should be putting that time into increasing your craft and increasing your ability to be able to do something and your ability to be able to help people. Put your time into that and watch God and hone your skills so that when God comes in, he has something to work with. Are you listening to me? Pour your oil. So David gets to the fight. And then David looks at the giant. The giant is way bigger than David. But then David said, what the heck? I'm going to stop looking at giant because I'll never fight him looking at him. He says, so what did he do? David looked up and he looks up at God. And then he gets this big mammoth picture of God, which is realistic, right? So he gets this big mammoth picture of God. And he said, what the heck? God is way bigger than him. So he said, you know what? I don't need to put on Saul's gear and all that sort of thing. I'm just going to fight him with a rock. All right. I'm just going to hit him in the head with a rock. Why? Because God is going to make up the difference. David had enough sense to know that. David said, I'm going to use what I got. All I got is a rock and a slingshot. He said, so I'm going to use that. He said, and then God, he'll make up the difference. All right. He said, why? Because he said, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He anoints my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Then he said, he prepared a table for me right in the presence of my enemies. See, David knew that. So when David said, good morning, Harold, how you doing? So when David knew, you know that when you're a warrior, you're so busy fighting. When I say fighting, I mean fighting God's battles. You're so busy fighting until you never even pay attention to who the enemy is, because the enemy don't even matter. It's like they're insignificant. It's like they don't even exist. Why? Because every enemy that you got is so much smaller than God until when you start fighting on God's terms, then you always win. Are you listening to me? When you start fighting on God's terms, the enemy can't do nothing with you. You walking in rooms, you're afraid of people. They need to be afraid of you. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Why? Because you got an army, a Holy Ghost gangster army with you. They ought to be worried about you. You should be worried about them. Are you digging what I'm saying? So don't flip the script. Don't give up your power and start acting a fool and start doing the stuff that people around you do, because now you're going to give up your power. And then you're going to be dealing with people based on your strength and you fighting and all that. Oh, anybody got time for all that nonsense? You're going to give up your peace. You're going to give up your joy. You're going to give up your common sense. You're going to give up your ability to be able to do things at a high level. Why? Because God ain't in that crap. That's why. All right. Why? Because you're doing what you want to do based on your own, and it don't work. It dumbs you down. So don't dumb yourself down. Allow God to fight with you. Allow God to fight your battle, and you maintain your composure. Be calm and cool. You dig what I'm saying? My blood pressure is 110/87, and I'm 60 years old. You know why? Because I let God fight my battles. That's why. And I get up every day and do the same thing. I just do the same thing all the time. Just get back to work. What? Keep pouring the oil. Keep pouring the oil. Keep pouring the oil. And I'm like David. I know God will make up the difference. I don't worry about that. Let me tell you something. If you're going to do your work and you're going to do God's work, what's the point of God? God is like, I can't work with you because you're trying to do my job. Excuse me. He said, and then let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about everybody who want to trade places with God. And I got to get out of here because I got to get to a staff meeting. So let me tell you about, this is the idea. This is why it's so blasphemous. This is why it's so ineffective to try to do God's work. Let me tell you why. Because that means you ain't doing your part. Because now it's like, look, I'm so frantic and I want things to work out so fast. I want to work out the kind of way I wanted to work out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take over God's job. I'm going to do God's work, and then I'm not going to do none of my own work. See, that's backwards. That makes no sense. Why in the world would I be doing God's job and not doing my own? Because you have a responsibility to pour the oil. God got the responsibility to make it grow. You got a responsibility to plant stuff. God got the responsibility of making it grow. You don't have the responsibility of making it grow. You just got the responsibility of planting it. Are you digging what I'm saying? And if you start planting, if you just start planting, then God will make it grow, because it ain't going to grow without God anyway. So why in the world you want to jump on the other side? You don't plant, and then you get on the other side and tell God how you want it to happen. Now you God. Now you want to take over God's job. See, that's blasphemous. That's a big problem. That's what got Eve in trouble when the devil told her you're gonna be like God. She was like, "What? We're gonna be like God? Word to the mother, man! Give me some of that fruit." Eating all off the tree she wasn't supposed to be eating off of. Why? Meddling, trying to take over God's job. So don't do that. Don't try to take over God's job, or else you're gonna find yourself eating sending up some strange fruit. You dig what I'm saying? Because God ain't gonna bless you. You gonna be stuck like Chuck in a pickup truck. You gonna be fighting. You gonna be swinging against the air. Boom, 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 and ain't nothing gonna happen. It won't be no compounded interest. See, God compounds the interest. What I mean, God compounds the interest in you. He compounds the interest in your product. He compounds the interest in your service. He compounds the interest in your ministry. He compounds the interest in your purpose, whatever it is that you're doing. God compounds that. I know you never heard of that before. Why? Because he woke me up the other morning and told me. All right. He said, "Ricky, I want you to teach the people about compounded interest." I say, "Yeah, Lord, that's boring." He said, "I ain't talking about money, son." I'm like, "Oh, what you talking about, God?" He said, "I'm talking about people interest being compounded." It's people's interest in you compounded. Talk to your brothers and your sisters about that and see how they go and do things to make sure that people's interest is compounded in them. So there are people looking for you. I just want you to know this. People interested in you. There are people who, matter of fact, if you would help them, because y'all some cold-blooded, y'all got all kind of talent. That ain't the issue. The issue is that, are you pouring the oil, and are you allowing God to make up the difference? That's the issue. All right, because that's a serious problem with most people. Most people will not pour their oil. They will not show up to the fight. You know why? Because they're looking at these little poo-butt folks and all these people intimidating y'all. You're looking at them like they are like they are a real giant or something, but they ain't no real giant. They just some ants. Okay, so stop that. Pour your oil. Go into business. Do what it is that you're getting ready to do. All right. Let God handle the back end. Are you listening to me? God can't handle the back end if you don't handle the front end. Are you digging what I'm saying? How's it gonna be an end without a start? Are you digging what I'm saying? What's that, Black Knight? The challenge, it starts at 11 o'clock. It starts in about an hour. Okay. So I only got a couple of more minutes here because I got to go into a staff meeting. So it starts in about an hour. So for those of y'all who don't know what's going on, we're doing a challenge this week. It's called My Financial IQ Challenge. And I'll be teaching you all how we operate out of trust and how we make real money and all of that. So we'll be doing that for the whole week. And you can be in the platinum section. That's the best section. That's $597. And you come in and you can ask questions and you can hear questions that you never heard in your life, because most of the things that we teach y'all about money and most of the things we're going to be teaching y'all out of this common law handbook, we're going to be teaching y'all out of here. And for you guys who don't have this book, get the common law handbook for you guys who don't have that. I'm going to teach some things from out of that book today. I'm going to teach you some things from out of my book, Control Everything, Own Nothing. I'm going to teach you things that you just ain't never heard 99.999% of the time, that you just never heard. So you're just not aware of. So you don't know how to do it because nobody taught you. So it ain't your fault, that you don't know. But when you come on into the challenge, then you'll learn. If you so decide you want to do that. So that's platinum. You can ask me questions all week long. And if you want to come into VIP, you can listen to the questions, but you can't ask questions, but you can listen. And then if you want to come into the Facebook group, then you can just listen to the Facebook group. You say, I got your book. What was the other book? This other book is called Common Law Handbook, Black Knight. Common Law Handbook. If you come into the class, we're going to talk about it. In fact, it's going to be part of the homework today if you decide to come to the class. So I got to get out of here. I just wanted to encourage you all today. Pour your oil, go to the fight. Do the doggone thing, all right? And then let God make up the difference. Stop talking yourself out of money. Stop talking yourself out of your blessings. Stop talking yourself out of your destiny. Stop talking yourself out of your purpose. Man, do the doggone thing, all right? Y'all thinking about stuff too doggone much. Too much. All this thinking, contemplating, procrastinating, thinking you unworthy, thinking your stuff ain't enough. Your stuff is enough, all right? Whatever God gave you, that's your starting point. Now, of course, you got to get better. Of course, you got to get better. Of course, you got to get better, but you got to start out something before you can get better. So are you listening to me? Because God, he wants to blow your life up. That's God's desire from you. He want to blow your life up. Are you listening to me? He wants to blow your life up just like he's blown up my life. What's that, Brother Chris? Facebook group link sends me to the general Facebook group. Will you ask your team to resend the link? Okay. Yeah, if you join VIP or something, Brother Chris, then you get a link. If you join the general group, then you get the Facebook group. But if you join, so Chris, if you have an issue, send it to info@stellawealthmanagement.com. If you have an issue, info@stellawealthmanagement.com, Brother Chris. If you have some, and Shantae will take care of it. All right, she'll get it. It'll come straight to the email. She'll get right on top of it. Shantae is a genius, a technical genius, and she really loves you all. She's really concerned about your life, and she gets right on top of it. All right, she'll take care of that right away. All right. So, am I coming through loud and clear to you all today? Are you gonna go ahead on and do different? Are you gonna go ahead on, Rob? If you're having some trouble, just send it to Shantae. She'll take care of it. All right. And Brother Rob, when you come to the meeting today, you got to sing a song, man, because you're cold. You gotta know your voice was that cold blooded, man. You gotta come and lay it down. So listen, I gotta go, y'all. I gotta go. One more time. God is interested in you. God wants to compound an interest in your life. You're gonna have to pour the oil, and you're gonna have to show up for the fight. If you show up for the fight and you pour the oil, God, he'll do everything. He'll make up all the difference. And let God do his work. All right. Stop trying to be God. Don't try to be God. Let God be God. Okay. Y'all too frantic. Y'all up under too much pressure. Y'all too worried about all kinds of stuff. Y'all too fretful over nothing. Okay. Don't fret not yourself because of evildoers, because they're gonna soon be cut off just like the grass. All right. So don't do that. Don't fret yourself. Just delight yourself in the Lord and let him give you the desires of your heart. Are you listening to me? I gotta go. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Be blessed in the city. Be blessed in the field. If you decide, I'll see you in the challenge. Otherwise, you all have a beautiful, wonderful day. And remember that stellar is as stellar does. Listen.